Hello, everybody, and welcome to September 2025 Production Audio Wrap-Up. I'm Peter Schneider, and I'm here with TK Edmondson in Atlanta. Hey, TK.
Hey.
And coming to us live from sunny California, I am very honored to present Ryan Peterson. Ryan, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for being a guest on our little monthly wrap-up. I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what your background is in audio, and where you are now specifically.
Yeah. So I'm Ryan Peterson. Live in LA. I'm a production sound mixer and playback operator for film and TV. A lot of people probably know me already that watch this channel, but myself and Devendra Cleary and Mike Paul, we have a shop together here in Los Angeles where we do service and repair. Following the closure of Location Sound, Devendra and I decided it would be a great idea to have a place for people to take their Cantars to get them fixed. As Cantar owners ourselves, we want to make sure the longevity of these machines. We've invested a lot into them, and they're awesome machines, and we wanted to keep them going. So we've worked together with Gilles and Pierre over at Club Cantar to get service going for them here. But we've also opened service up to Electrosonics, sound devices, Comtex, Deity, kind of whatever you have that you use on set is something that you can either send to us or bring into us, and we can get it fixed for you.
The community is incredibly lucky to have you guys as a resource. I have to say, it's really awesome. I think that it's fantastic. You guys service and you rent as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we do some rentals. We do have loaners available for people that have like more complicated service that they might need something quickly on set. But we have a massive rental of Axient available here in LA, as well as like Wisicom fiber, kind of a lot of like the specialty niche stuff that you're not going to necessarily find somewhere else.
Awesome. Link in the description for how to get in touch with Ryan and company. It's awesome to see you guys. And it's especially awesome to know that Mike Paul is with you. And that's the shop in the background that we see, right?
This is the shop in the background. You can see Mike's desk kind of all the way in the back there. That's actually the exact desk he used at Location Sound. So it's been brought over to our shop, and he comes in and works on the projects we have for him and the stuff that he loves to do. So
love that. Awesome. Well, kick us off, please, Ryan. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so shipping now, this was announced a few months back. This is the Shure ANX4. It is Shure's multi-channel receiver, up to 16 channels of Axient digital or 24 channels of ULX-D. It is either or, not at the same time. It does come in a DC version for all of our production sound carts. The channels are licensed separately, so that the ANX4 is the hardware unit, and then you add on the different licenses based on how many you want. So 4, 8, 12, 16. You can also buy them as individuals. So if you just wanted 13 channels, you could do that. You do own the licenses. They are not a subscription. So once you've transferred those into your Shure Cloud account, you transfer them onto your ANX4, and they are there in perpetuity until you decide to move them off and back in your cloud, because you can move licenses between units. You can sell the license if you don't want them anymore. So it's an actual physical asset in software form. So you don't ever have to worry about being on set and your license is expiring. They're always on that unit. It's really, really cool. I actually set up one this morning with the client, and it's going to be a big game changer for making our Shure Axient on our carts significantly smaller.
Love that it can be ULX-D or Axient. I'm hoping they'll allow us to mix and match in the future, but right now it's all one or all the other.
One or the other, yeah.
Can the three of us engage in a little philosophy for a minute? What do you think about the idea of licenses and how the licenses work, and how we should talk about how Shure is treating these licenses? So Ryan, when you unlocked it, you had to connect it to the internet, for example.
Yeah, so when you first get it, and I will mention too, just real quick, it is 174 megahertz to 2 gigahertz. I forgot to mention that. So it is worldwide ready, and you can use it with any current transmitter from Shure. That's ULX or Axient Digital or any future transmitter. I think the licenses are nice because, like the person I set up this morning, they bought 8 licenses. They didn't want to go to the full 16. Once you've basically bought 8 licenses and the hardware unit, you are now cheaper than buying 2 AD4Qs. So it is more cost efficient for users, which is really nice, and it's scalable. So like if you just want to, first buy in with 4 channels just to kind of get the taste of it, you can do that and not have as high of an upfront cost as you would if you needed to buy all 16.
Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting how they're treating the licenses. Like, let's say, TK, you had in Atlanta, a 16, a full up unit in Atlanta, but Ryan, you needed to get 8 of our channels. We would take our 8 and put it in the cloud.
Yep.
And then, our 8 exists in the cloud, but we would transfer those 8 to you.
Correct. You would transfer that to my cloud account, yeah. And then I could use them on my unit. And then when I'm done, I can transfer them back to you. So if you have like 2 units on either side of the country, you can easily transfer licenses. You don't have to ship anything. It's instantaneous. And
that's the only time that you need it connected to the internet is when you're transferring licenses. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Only when you need to move licenses onto or off of the unit is when you need the actual hardware unit connected to the internet. It connects to the Shure cloud just through an Ethernet port. And then you do all of the actual license management in your Shure cloud account on your computer.
I'm a big fan of perpetual licenses, so I love that that's the way that it functions. It also means that there's a unique kind of opportunity, at least the way that it formulated in my brain, to rent out additional licenses without since you can just do things via the cloud. It's like, oh, we have a new need and we now need 4 more channels or whatever the case may be. You can just easily access that, pull out your transmitters, they're on location, and provided you either hotspot maybe into the unit or you've got some sort of other Wi-Fi set up, you're good to go.
Yeah, those GLI net routers that can take Wi-Fi as WAN are going to be super popular for like $100. These are permanent licenses that we can transfer as we see fit. So any rental deals are our own rental deals. And similarly, if we transfer it to somebody as a rental and then they don't return it, it's treated as physical property. It's gone forever. There's no possibility to get it back.
It's like if you rented out the unit itself and it never came back. It's the same idea with the software license.
Wow, cool.
Shure ULX-D wide tuning now available worldwide, wideband. This is the new G57 band, or is actually existing but new and available for the ULX-D. For North America, it's going to be 470 all the way to 608, and this is going to replace the narrow bands G50, H50, and J50. So this will work with the body pack transmitters, the handhelds, and the full rack receivers. They're all going to get this new hardware update. The other components will not. However, they will still be functional with that, provided you are in the correct band. So there's a wideband and legacy components that are compatible, to be clear. So the V50 band and the X52 band, those will remain available. However, since those are not in the new G57 band, you will not be able to use those. You will need a respective receiver to work with those components.
Which makes sense, right? So I still think that VHF V50 range in ULX-D is for a lot of markets like a secret band to be in.
And with the ANX4, you can use those current transmitters with a now existing receiver.
Bingo. So if you did want one receiver to rule them all, that would be the way to go.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Actually, with ANX4 too, this is a note of mention is that when you have an ANX4 and using it with ULX-D, you actually do get a performance increase due to the nature of the receivers in the ANX4. That's
an interesting point. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, look, I gotta say, ULX-D performs really well by itself. So that's actually super exciting to know that it kicks it up to the next level.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting for anybody using the Shure rechargeable batteries. Currently, it would have been the SB900B battery. They have a new SB900C battery, which is actually a 40% capacity increase versus the previous generation. So you're going to go from maybe like a 4-hour battery life to maybe like a 7-hour battery life.
Jeez.
Those that are using this, and this would be for like any ULX-D transmitter as well as Axient non-show-link transmitters such as AD1, AD2, AD3, and also actually ADX3 as well. So those that are on set using Shure plug-ons, Axient for their booms, this will actually give you a much greater battery life in those booms than previous, and it's actually cheaper.
Better and cheaper?
Yeah.
Better and yeah, exactly.
Wait a second.
You don't get that very often.
I mean, it's crazy that Shure is packing 40% more capacity into the same size.
Can we just sort of praise Shure for taking responsibility for their battery ecosystem? Just I think
It's fantastic.
Yeah, first of all, the quality control is great, and obviously it gives them, special telemetry that allows. I mean, truly, I've relied on that to the minute, with an AD where they're looking to, go into grace, and I say, okay, well, it says 6 minutes, you probably have 7 minutes left, so let's go.
And now you can make it way past lunch with the new battery.
Yeah. Shure DCA 901 broadcast mic array. I am very excited about this. Just for context, well, what it is a 15-inch diameter circular disc that's got a bunch of what they call MEMS microphones, which are these little tiny digital microphones that the firmware sauce can steer into steerable arrays. This technology we've become familiar with over the years through Shure's AV line, the MXA, and primarily the MXA. They make these little, basically they look like PZM mics, but they have similar MEMS technology and steerable arrays. Software-driven, Dante out, PoE. They're kind of taking that line and they're moving it into broadcast. So this is absolutely huge, available early next year. And Ryan, you were telling me about a story that you heard where they taped a John Mulaney special and used this in a unique way.
So this has been being tested for the last couple of years. It's really, really cool, but they had it on the John Mulaney special. They actually used it to record the crowd in the audience, and they actually used it to be able to mix it down to Atmos. And if you would have done that in a traditional sense with microphones, you would have needed shotguns and microphones all over the place for that. But like with this, you could just probably stick 2 up and cover an entire audience crowd just with 2 PoE lines. And then that would give you 16 channels of ISOs to work with.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Great stuff.
It's very cool.
All right, another update from Shure on the ADPSM. This is going to give you a channel expansion license now available for the PSM Axient lineup. This is their in-ear monitoring system, also known as the PSM, but now with Axient. So you're going to be able to get up to 16 channels in the ADTQ rack transmitter, and firmware 1.1.14 or 14 rather 1.1.14. That will unlock the Axient digital standard for the transmission mode to become available for you.
Now, if I understand this right, the ADTQ has been out for a bit, but we haven't seen its full potential. This finally unlocks its full Axient digital sort of WMAS mode.
Yeah, so previously it was just 4 channels on 1 frequency in WMAS mode, and now this will utilize all of the radios within the unit to offer 4 frequencies with 16 channels within it. And that is a channel expansion license that you buy, similar to buying actually the exact same way that you would buy channel licenses for ANX4. And it's all managed the same way through the cloud. I'm super excited for the Axient digital standard transmission mode in this because it allows you to send hops to ADX5Ds on cameras or delay towers. Whatever way that you can think of using it. It'll be really, really cool.
Interesting. So I didn't, I really didn't think about that application where if you're doing sound reinforcement and you have, delay towers, meaning speakers, for like a back audience kind of thing. In case you didn't realize, I don't do front of house. Those have to be delayed, and typically they need a cable run to them. And typically you wouldn't use wireless, A, because of reliability, which I think Axient does a great job at solving, and B, so you don't have a honking receiver up on the top of the speaker, right? Now you can just use those ENG receivers.
Exactly.
Wow. Cool. Zaxcom has announced a fix for their ZMT4X MicroLock. So DPA, as you know, moved over to the MicroLock connector, which is backwards compatible with microdots. But because the Zaxcom transmitter, the way it's physically constructed, the micro lock didn't quite fit in the older Zaxcom ZMT4Xs. So they now have a retrofit available, and presumably going forward, you will buy transmitters already retrofitted. Contact service at zaxcom.com for details.
Sound Devices has launched a new firmware for their 8 series recorders. This is launched because of the new iOS that was recently released by Apple. OS 26 actually has a lot of really cool new features in it. But those that need compatibility were instructed to wait. Now you can actually upgrade your firmware, both your iOS app as well as your firmware to 11.01 and be able to use your newest iOS devices with iOS 26.
So I saw some chatter online, and it was about why did Sound Devices have to delay releasing a version that was compatible with iOS and iPadOS 26 if Sound Devices as a developer gets access to betas. And here's one thing I know from being friendly with developers is that Apple often makes last-minute changes between the beta they send to developers and the final OS that they release. So I think it's really prudent and wise the way Sound Devices handled that, which is let's let the new version of the OS get out in the wild, and let's do our due diligence and test it, and then come out with the new version of the firmware and the app itself.
Yeah, I think it's super smart of them to give that instruction. I mean, you want your equipment to work well in the field. It's a critical application. You don't want it messing up. As a longtime Pro Tools user who's always constantly taking updates, you want to make sure that your system's going to function properly and not crash. So
Absolutely.
A little bit of patience goes a long way in that.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart move. You can get ahead of your customer base who might just unintentionally do an update, especially from the iOS side, since those things happen overnight.
Yeah.
Sound Devices has unified and rebranded the A20 lineup under the Astral name that we all already know and love. A20, the Nexus, and the Super Nexus receivers are now called the Astral ARX2, the ARX16, and the ARX32, respectively. Numbers reflect the maximum amount of channels that you can have on each respective receiver.
In other words, that's the maximum after plugins, after you buy plugins.
Yes, exactly. So don't think that you're getting 16 channels or 32.
You're getting
so whatever
the
number is. Yeah, that's the potential, exactly. So the transmitters and the accessories, they swap the A20 for the Astral, and that's pretty much the gist of it. The physical products and features, they will remain unchanged. So name change, rebranding for the Sound Devices A20. I mean Astral lineup.
Nice. DPA came out with their N series. It's fully digital wideband wireless with high dynamic range and no gain settings. It's designed primarily for live events and installations. It's a 2-channel rack receiver. It's got a body pack transmitter and a handheld transmitter, and it's got some software control. Look, it's priced very, very competitively, and it's got that DPA/WYSICOM kind of pedigree. So I think it's worth checking out for install and for broadcast. And yeah, I think it's a great product. Pre-orders are open now, shipping in October, hopefully while you're watching this.
Also available soon is the new Q5X Incognito Axient Digital. So Q5X Incognito has been out for a long time in an analog version. Now it is available with Axient Digital inside. It also has a full redesign of the body. Let's see, I have one right here. So basically, you'll notice it's very similar to a player mic, but now with a removable battery. So that was the whole idea with the original Incognito, is that it had a separate battery so that you could place it anywhere on the body. So you could have, side by side, or if you needed to have it farther away. This is the same idea. It uses a USB-C connector, which is really, really cool. They actually spent a lot of time developing this awesome mechanism. But it is shipping in October. And so the new 8-hour battery life on it. And it does ship with 2 batteries. So definitely will get you through a whole day. A lot of people that were maybe hesitant to get a player mic due to the fact that it is rechargeable only, this is that thing that people have been wanting and waiting for. 3-pin LEMO or the traditional 1-pin LEMO.
Interesting. I have to confess, one of the reasons I love doing these monthly wrap-ups is because I learn, and this is my chance to catch up. And so during rehearsal, I said, "Oh, and Ryan, it's also got show link control." And you're like,
Nope.
It needs Mic Commander to control it.
Yeah, so Q5X has a different protocol that they use. It's with their RCAS gateway, is what they call it. And they have a handheld controller that you can actually walk around with. It's rechargeable, so you can give it utility. And if you're a long way from set, they can walk out there and make any change on the transmitter, frequency, mic offset, any kind of the same settings you would see like in a show link setting, but just with a different gateway. And that actually gateway does talk with their software, the Mic Commander software that is available on PC right now. And then that same software will actually talk to your Axine system as well. So you could manage your entire Axine digital setup with just one software, which is pretty cool. They showed that at NAB in April.
And so you mentioned this kind of nifty way of where if you didn't have Mic Commander, you can still get settings to the transmitter via the infrared on the Shure receiver.
You can, yeah. So this does have IR sync on it. And when you go into the menu of your AD receiver, you can change what settings change when you do the IR sync. So if you wanted to up your RF power, you can go in and say, when I IR sync through this device, I want the RF power to go up to high or low or medium. So you can run a Q5X transmitter without a handheld unit, just by changing your IR sync settings, which I don't think a lot of people realize that you can do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Zoom, the Live Track L6 Max, another edition of this wonderful board from Zoom. This gives you 12 channels of digital mixer recorder input via 4 combo jacks and 8 line level inputs. I do think there is a bit of a campaign to remove faders, but that's all I'm going to say on that. We have wonderful knobs here, though. They're going to get you through. This is super compact. I mean, probably like the width of my hand. I have large hands. You guys all know the story. But yeah, if you need 12 inputs from Zoom, this thing's going to be very backpackable, USB charging, and works as an interface as well. So if you need a nice compact device and battery powered for backups, look at the Live Track L6 Max.
Interesting. I could see that being used for location podcasts and stuff like that. That could be interesting.
Yeah. They always like spring this, oh, we have a YouTube client or that we're going to video in or something like that. Like, okay, cool. I mean, here you go.
Speaking of Zoom, they have their Instamic Pro Plus C, which is an interesting product. Very small, ultra compact. It's waterproof. It can do internal time code, or it can sync with Atomos or Tentacle Sync. 16 gigabytes of internal storage, 32-bit float. It's a Bluetooth mic, remote control app. It's available. They say Q4, which is we're in Q4, so presumably within the next few months. It has its place. I mean, I think it's a sort of miracle of technology that it's 32-bit float time code and super, super small, and it still can act as a Bluetooth mic.
Someone who's going to be dabbling in water that you wouldn't want to risk your other wireless for, it's a piece of your toolkit that you can, you don't have to worry about it being a crazy LMD.
Yeah, I mean, the proverbial crash mic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then internal time code, sync this thing. And a lot of people have tentacles already.
Yep.
Done and done.
Tascam announced their FR-AV2. It's a 4-channel field recorder with Bluetooth, dual analog to digital converters, 32-bit float, ambisonics recording. It's got 4 XLR inputs, basically a 4-in, 2-out mixer, time code capable. It's got this kind of interesting syncing capability where it has an HDMI pass-through. So presumably, I've been in this situation where you're recording music, you have a wide shot, you may as well put the HDMI out of your camera into this thing. So now it's locked to your camera. And yeah, you get a board feed and recording 32-bit float and not have to worry. It's got other uses, obviously. But again, let's delve into a little philosophy and start some controversy. Group, what do we think about 32-bit float?
I currently don't use 32-bit float. I definitely see where it's useful. I think if you know how to properly gain stage, that 24-bit offers plenty of room.
Yes.
Typically, you're probably going to destroy your microphone before you hit the peak of 24-bit, most likely. But I definitely see where it's useful. If you've got to set your recorder and stick it in the back of a car and let it go, super useful for that. Where you can't monitor every little, you're going to kind of set it and leave it, but you know that you're protected with 32-bit float. I think that's a great use for it.
So there were these Staples commercials for the last 2 decades, and their whole thing was this big red easy button. 32-bit float falls into that category for me personally.
Did you like the big red easy button?
I'm not against the big red easy button and the way it could applicably apply to whatever, but I love it. I guess yes is the answer because I can use it now for further things. It's really a reduction for me of the skill set required, as Ryan was saying, to utilize 24-bit properly. And so now we're opening that up. So you could just turn it on. It's going to auto gain. A lot of the 32-bit devices have auto gain. So you really don't have to think about anything. And then, just attach this to your camera, hit the record run trigger for the HDMI. And for somebody who doesn't want to worry about audio, they're kind of getting a lot of what they need, if not almost everything.
I feel like that doesn't want to worry about audio that, I think there's so much more to worrying about audio than level. I think it's helpful to have that sort of aspect removed in certain limited situations. But I don't think more is always more, and I don't think one tool fits everything.
Yeah, I personally think too that if you don't properly gain stage anyway, 32-bit's not going to get you that much farther, because if you're clipping your mic pre, you're still clipping your mic pre, right?
Yep.
Yeah, or if the mic is in the other, side of the room or whatever it is. It's
I think people should talk more about sample rate. I think sample rate's more important.
Bold.
The fact that we're still at 48K, going to 96 offers you a lot of processing power in post, in my opinion.
I would love to sidebar this, as I do all my mixing in 96 as well.
Oh, fascinating. All right. Well, let us know about all of our philosophical discussions in the comments below, please.
All right. More 32-bit craziness from Deity. Just released at IBC, the PR4, and they showed just a little glimpse of the PR6. This is going to be a compact recorder with 32-bit float, time code. It's got internal solid state built in, as well as an SD expansion slot. Works with their Citus app, so you can control this over your phone, your mobile device, all those things. And it also includes an L series battery option, so you can slot on a battery, an NP, whatever size you need, and you're good. This also, the PR4 has 4 inputs, 6 tracks. All right. The PR6 has 6 inputs and 10 tracks. So there'll be a short video linked somewhere. Really excited to see this come out. It's got the mounts on top, so really kind of aiming for the people who want to. There's a little market right under the mix pre's and the prosumer stuff, and I think this is hitting that gap.
Yeah, it's solidly built. I'm excited. It was nice to see Andrew. It was nice to see this in person.
I have to say that right now, for people wanting to get into production sound, the availability of lower cost recorders, I think we're at an awesome place right now. There's so many options. I mean, we just launched, saw 2 new launched right now. There's mix pre's, there's Tascam, Deity, they all Zoom. There's so many options now compared to what I would have seen when I started in this business.
Yeah, I'm really glad Tascam dropped something, because the FR-AV2 was the previous one, and that's been a while since that came out. So it was nice to see them re-enter the chat, if you will.
Yeah.
Also from Deity is an update to their CineReach boom poles. This is now a 5-section carbon fiber pole instead of a 4-section. It's basically a big refresh of their whole boom pole line. It comes in 3 different versions: a small, which is 8.5 feet long; a medium, 12.5 feet, and then their longest at 16 foot 4 inches. And the smallest one collapses down to just under 28 inches. super reasonably priced. I think the lowest one was $185, and the longer one is up in the mid 300s. Reasonable for weight. An awesome option for people wanting to get into a boom pole. It's just starting out in their career.
Yeah, and it comes with a case.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. It does come with a case. Yeah.
Easyrig boom accessories. The Flex Vest, this is going to add an adjustability for chest support to the existing boom rig support system, mainly kind of aimed at female operators or anyone who's just looking for a more customized fit, if you will. They also have a battery plate now that you can add. It's going to be like a V-mounted situation that lets you add a battery to the base of the pole, so you can power a light or anything like that if you have kind of like a third party need for your boom rig, if you will. And it also functions as a counterweight. So kind of cool if you want to keep the balance where it needs to be. These things will be available later on in October. So check that out from Easyrig Boom Accessories.
Let us know in the comments if you've ever been on a set and had the gaffer ask to borrow an old boom pole to put a China ball at the end of it. And then you both end up competing for that same space. It's great.
Now you have battery plates available and new boom poles from Deity to do that. So we have an updated remote audio Meon Life. They call it the Meon Life Smart. Still your single space, self-contained cart power system that you're used to with the previous version of Meon, capable of 18 amps at 12 volt DC. It has a 20 amp hour built-in internal battery with 10 4-pin XLR outputs. What are the changes, you ask? So basically it adds a color screen, an OLED screen, power switching controller upgrades, basically allows you to see a little more information on your new unit, and it is available now.
Nice.
We have an update from Clearcom on the FreeSpeak 2. They have new 10 belt pack license option for the FreeSpeak base stations. So this allows you to join the existing 5 or 25 license versions, and it gives you basically like a middle ground option. You don't need 5, you don't really need 25, you need 10. So now you can have 10. The 10 licenses are upgradable to 25, as I mentioned, and the TBA or the availability on this is going to be TBA for now. But very wonderful news to announce, and nice to know it's coming down the pipeline.
Also hot on the heels of that is Clearcom released their Arcadia version 4 of the firmware, which allows their new Icon belt pack support, which is 9 buttons on the belt pack. It borrows from their Matrix intercom panels, which allows that to be integrated, as well as their HelixNet, both the 4-channel belt pack that's coming out, or that's out now, as well as HelixNet panels. And there's some improved flexible port allocation. I'm really a big fan of Arcadia. I think what they've done is amazing. This adds actually more useful options to the Arcadia platform. For those that don't know, Arcadia basically took that FreeSpeak technology and made basically into an almost Matrix intercom that includes wireless belt packs. Coming soon in next year, beginning of next year, is IFB integration, and it'll double the Iris X panel capacity to 64.
Just like we have a lot of new recorders, comms is also on fire. We have a new H1 model from Hollyland, the Solidcom H1. It is a scalable 1.9 gigahertz wireless intercom system with belt packs, antenna boxes, and a Geo Central station. The Geo Central station is kind of the new fancy thing that really makes the system super expandable. It's got smart grouping. It integrates with Dante and wired comms. So if you run a 2-wire, 4-wire, you can now integrate with that, as well as sending via Dante, which is really big for a lot of people. It has cloud access with the paid subscription. Basically, I believe you can connect multiple systems together via the cloud. So if you have different locations, you can have them all talk together, if I'm correct on that. You can do up to 30 belt packs in 12 groups with no central station, just an antenna. But if you add a central station, you can do up to 80 belt packs in 100 groups. It is available now, and it is a pretty big deal at a lower price point for people that are in the comms world.
Yeah, I got to say, Hollyland has really, really, really increased their market share. I think that they have seen a lot of what Riedel and Arcadia, Clearcom Arcadia, are doing, and they are, they're taking notice.
Yep.
This new H1, I mean, it's with the Dante integration. I mean, even the other base stations that they've had with USB integration, I always thought was clever, but this obviously takes it up to the next level. And now you're adding the idea of like separate transceivers and a separate base station. Yeah, it's a great time to be in comms and to use comms. I would encourage you watching now, let us know. Have you seen increased use of comms on your film sets?
Tilta has debuted with their Boulder camera cart. This is going to be a basic foldable cart situation. Dimensions are going to be 42, 23, 41. It's got a vast array of accessories, so you can customize this thing for your particular workflow. And if you have multiple workflows, you can just get more accessories and just set it up how you need for that particular workflow. So when this is collapsed, you're looking at dimensions of 36.7 by 24. So you're going to have a nice bit of savings in there, something you could throw easily in your back seat. If you're lucky enough to have a truck or SUV, throw it in the hatch or the back there. And yeah, you're rocking and rolling.
Or check it as baggage, which I've seen people do. It's wild.
You could potentially just check this as a baggage with the oversized luggage department. Yeah, so tons of options. This is going to be available later in October as a special order item. So if you are interested, please reach out to us and we'll get you squared away.
Amazing.
Speaking of tilting, bad joke. Cinela has launched a new swivel kit. It basically allows you to rotate on 2 axes. So a lot of people always complain, well, I want my transmitter maybe on the other side of the microphone. Now you can actually swivel that and have it around and move it around. It is available for the piano, Pianissimo, Zephyx, and Albert mounts, and it will be available soon.
Awesome. I love Cinela stuff. It's great stuff. Mackie announced their battery-powered PA system. It's a turnkey system. It's got subs. It's got mixer stands, rechargeable batteries. Whole thing can run on batteries. Unusual to see battery-powered subs, but it definitely has its place. Available now.
Just finished up IBC over in Europe. Mm-hmm. A bunch of really new cool stuff that's coming out. Ambient showed their upgraded Lockit box. It's called the Lockit BT. It actually adds Bluetooth integration into their time code and sync generator so that you can connect to a app on your phone. It's pretty cool. Well, I think there's also greater use for this that we're going to see, just like with Tentacle and Atomos with their Bluetooth sync capability with like Wisicom transmitters and such, that we'll probably be able to see that in the future from Ambient as well.
Very cool.
I don't think they've announced availability yet, but I would imagine sometime in the next 1 or 2 quarters.
Ursa has debuted their performance pouch. I guess that's what you do for a performance, you debut. So this is designed really essentially for like quick transmitter swaps. If you got to get the battery out or take a mic out, anything like that. Very applicable for like theater setup. So anything where you want a nice snug fit, you've got these brass poppers and it will keep the body pack in there secure, but allow you to just pop it right open and do all the things you need to. The loops on the back are going to allow you to mount this horizontal or vertically. There's also a slit for a clip mount, so you can loop that through. Little gator clip on there. TBA on this for availability, but if you're interested in a more secure version to hold your transmitters, check this out. It's coming soon.
Next up from IBC, Viviana showed off their new RF saver protector. If you basically have actors that have a tendency to lose your RF saver, this is a little clip that you can pop in that secures the antenna to your RF saver so that you don't have to keep buying RF savers over and over and over. So basically with the RF saver, you've got the different little indents. This slides in on one of those gaps and it pinches around the antenna. And so that way the RF saver can't move up and down. Right now it's only connected usually at the base of the antenna.
Got it.
And it doesn't take much to slip off and then your RF saver is gone. So it looks like they're also offering a DIY 3D print file for free.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
that's the nice move.
I love that trend. Can we just all agree that trend is amazing? The DIY 3D print.
So if you have your own 3D printer at home, you can print your own, or you can call up Peter or TK at Gotham and buy a bunch and honestly save some of your RF savers.
I implore you to call us up, but also check out your local library, folks. You'd be a lot You'd be really surprised
in
at how
terms
many
of 3D
libraries have
printing.
3D. Yeah, absolutely. I take my kids to the library. Total sidebar, but there is a 3D printer in the library.
That's amazing. Wow.
And it's awesome. You just go in there and use it for whatever you want. Upload your file, and you're out.
Wow. Bubblebee, love Bubblebee. They announced a windshield cage with a quick release XLR base, ISO-lock quick release mount.
A thing that really set this apart for me is their ISO-lock quick release.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in the past, a quick release just means you have to unplug your XLR and then you quick release the unit from your pole.
Mm-hmm.
This actually builds your wiring and your quick release all into one mount. So you can leave your transmitter connected to your pole and you just undo your mount and all the wiring and everything is built into that just with like quick pins. And so you just pop it off and you can pop it onto the next one.
Wow. Okay. So check out that video. We will link it in the description.
Also from IBC, Riedel announced their mini intercom belt pack. It is incredibly thin at 1.1 inches thick, under 6 ounces, has 4 push-to-talk keys, volume control, uses a Hiroshi 6-pin connector, still has Bluetooth connectivity that you're used to for your headsets. A lot of people like using the Shock headsets with these. And it still has a bottle opener, even in that thin profile. And it is not available quite yet, but will be in the future.
Not to be understated, the bottle opener.
The Germans have to have their bottle opener.
No, it's true. I mean, it's interesting to see like the way the market is shifting in comms. Like the Riedel has their Mini, Clearcom has their Icon. It's there's lots of options for everybody.
Nice.
Thank you for joining us. And TK, thank you. Ryan, thank you so much. If you want to check out any of these big products that we've spoken about, specifically any of the Axiom products, east of the Mississippi, come to either Gotham. West of the Mississippi, go to Ryan's store. And it is so good to see both of you. And I hope, Ryan, we all see each other again very soon and often. Join us for NAB New York coverage Wednesday, October 22nd. That and all the videos at gothamsound.tv.
I want to make sure everyone knows about the Atlanta Mixer. Dates are going to be November 7th, 8th, and 9th. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So yeah, if you're in the area, please come by, check it out. We'll have further information available later on this month.
It's always a good time. Follow us on social media. Contact us for your ideas at info@gothamsound.com. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you again, TK and Ryan. We'll see you
Thanks
all
for having
soon.
me.
Absolutely.
That's my kooky suggestion. Okay, moving
I think
on.
we're about 4 years away from that.